I love Willet.
We're online. We have power. We're back, baby. People are like, man, why do they keep missing episodes?
We don't even have to talk about it. I think we just go right past it and we just get into the episode.
I mean, we got to talk. We got to address the elephant in the room.
What are we going to say? You can only say I'm late because the alarm clock didn't go off so many times. You know, technical difficulties can only be the logical.
Yeah, I mean,
times.
Yeah, no, I mean it's bad with power here, folks. I don't know if anybody. We're literally getting ready to record. Power out. We're gonna come back on for a couple hours. What the fuck are we doing? You know, late at night. What are we doing?
We might have to start recording on a Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I'm going to a whole new power grid, so we should be good there. It's funny though, because usually it's my power that goes out, and the one time your power went out, that was fucking hilarious.
Well, that weekend was funny because like yours was out Thursday, Friday, and I was like, we'll just record Saturday. And I think you had drill or something going on. That's why we were recording on Thursday. That's exactly what it was. So Friday you were gone, Saturday you were gone, Sunday I was like, no big deal, no problem. We were literally on FaceTime like 45 minutes prior to starting to record. And then I like literally called you pitch fucking black. I'm like, hey pal, we don't have any goddamn power.
That shit was crazy, man.
It's a problem.
It was crazy.
It's a legitimate problem. But we're here, we're live, we're for the people, with the people. Great episode today. Great TB3 today as well, in my opinion. I've been excited about this TB3 for going on fucking damn near 3 weeks now, it seems like.
Yeah. Yep. A little over 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got something I got to get out there right away.
Yep.
Usually it's a fast food story, but we don't have a fast food story this week. What we have is a classic Walmart story. And now, folks, I'm going to say a lot of crazy shit right now. And you're going to say, he's making this up. This is too crazy to all happen at once for me to make it up. Like, it's impossible for me to have made this up. And my only, like, I'll tell you my regret at the end. I'll tell you my only regret at the end. Let's set the scene. Big Willie's headed over to the Walmart in Troy to grab lunch, but he's got to get a couple other things, which includes citrus strip to strip the stain off of some wood that's at the house that I plan on redoing. And I'm kind of going back and forth if I want citrus strip or quick strip. That's neither here nor there, but that's one of the tasks that needs to be accomplished while we're there. Another task that needs to be accomplished, and this is all on my lunch, my 30-minute lunch period. And I need to acquire gloves for when I do the stripping, that I have gloves to protect myself due to the harmful chemicals that there may be. And I need to grab my lunch while I'm in there, which is going to be one of those little lunch boxes that they do in there for $5 with the chicken and the sides. I pull into the Walmart parking lot, as most folks do when they're going to Walmart. And I go down the one aisle. The spots are pretty filled up, but I can see that there are open spots in the aisle next to me if I take a left. So I drive down to the main drive to where the road like runs right in front of the Walmart. I go to take that left, and people are usually walking out right there because you're close to the door. Young woman wearing yellow lens glasses. So I don't know if it's like a sunglasses thing. I don't know if maybe she's just got issues with blue light. I don't know what's going on with her, but I know that she's wearing yellow glasses.
Okay.
And she just stops. I mean, here's the walkway. Here's where I'm pulling from. I need to go to that thing. She stops right here, right in front of the Walmart, gets on her phone. Not like a, hey, Bill, how's it going? Like her phone's ringing. No, like it's like she got a text message. She's like, I got to stop. I got to type back to this, and then I'm going to continue to walk. So that's strike number one at Walmart. We're on strike number one here. Not too crazy. Just, something you could see anywhere. Any idiot could do that. Anywhere. That could happen at Subway. That could happen in Arby's. That could happen at the movie theater. That could happen anywhere. I then park, make my way into the Walmart. I go straight back to where the paint is to look for the citrus strip and or quick strip, whatever I decide that I want. I get back there, I realize they have very small bottles of both. even though online it said they had large bottles that were cheaper than they were at any home improvement store. And I go, well, let me do a little quick research and see like how much more expensive it would be for me to go get the larger bottle from somewhere else. So as I'm looking at my phone and I'm deciding which strip I'm going to use, I hear the old man who's in the aisle with me in a somewhat cartoon, high-pitched type voice say, and I'm going to do my best impression of him, just so you guys understand. I'm going to spray you. Meanwhile, there is spray paint in the aisle with us. I'm sorry. He said, I'm going to spray paint you. That's what he actually said. I ignore it because I just don't want to get into it. I have no idea what he's talking about, and he's quite a few feet away from me, so I'm just not going to get into that. He then proceeds to start spray painting the shopping cart in Walmart. So I then remove myself from the aisle
Nothing
and
really.
make my way.
Is it possible he was just trying to try out the color to see what it looked like?
I mean, that could be what he was doing, but I mean, spray painting the shopping cart is kind of crazy.
Sure.
So yeah, that happened. I remove myself from that aisle. I make my way down to the cleaning supplies where the gloves are, so I can look for a pair of gloves, or some nice gloves to put on. I'm looking for the large size because I got large hands. And I don't know if you've ever watched Bates Motel.
Nope.
Okay, so I mean, you know that there's an inappropriate relationship between the son and the
And
mother on
mother.
that show.
Sure.
So I then see the real life version of that, of Norman Bates and his mother.
Okay.
They are in the aisle together, and they are talking about like not anything I would say like fornication wise, but like just like things that like would make you uncomfortable. Conversations that would make you uncomfortable to have with your mother.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to get into the details because it was quite sickening. Um, but yeah, so that happens. So I'm like, holy shit! Like, what is that about? I make my way over to the deli to get my chicken.
This might be hands down the longest story I've ever heard in my entire life. I can't wait for the end goal here. What?
I mean, it's thing after thing. I get my chicken. I make my way to the self checkout,
Okay.
and then a woman who legitimately belonged in an insane asylum gets behind me in the self checkout line, and it's quite a long self checkout line. I'm not gonna lie, quite a few people deep. She sees the like people are leaving the self checkout and other people are like making their way through, and she goes, "What's that line up there?" And then she just tries to like go around everybody to get to like the self checkout part, but that's what we're all waiting in line to do. And a customer stops her and is like, "Ma'am, like this is the self checkout line. You have to go back to the back." So she goes back there, and then she again, a few seconds later, tries to make her way in front of it again. Then this time the Walmart employee steps in, tells her to stop. Whatever. So then she's so upset about the line that every time somebody walks away from one of the self checkout things, she is now screaming the number out of which self checkout has. Number five's open, number two's open, number three's open, and she's in the back of the line. And people are not taking their time in there. People are hurrying. Like I mean, it's not like they're not like sitting there like, oh, which one's going to open up next? No, they're like seeing one open and they're beelining it there. So I mean, that's fine. She then ends up at the self checkout right next to me. And every time she scans an item, she just screams, "Oh my God, the price of this! Oh my God, this is expensive! Oh, this is crazy! This is insane! This better be worth it!" Every item. Whatever. Story progresses. I get to the parking lot. I get in my car. I go to eat my little lunch because I still have some time. White Ford Explorer pulls into the spot that's kitty corner to me. The spot next to me is wide open. There's then a sedan, and somebody has now taken a shopping cart and not returned it to the corral and put it in the corner of the thing, of the four spots. She pulls in, smacks the shopping cart,
Okay.
smacks it so hard that it bounces off of her car, hits the sedan, comes back and hits her car again. She doesn't stop. I think her goal was to pull all the way through to the next spot. She just pulls it and is just slamming this shopping cart into her car in the sedan. So it is literally just like crumbling the two cars because she's just pushing it together. And I mean, Walmart makes a pretty sturdy shopping cart. I mean,
They're
it's a
good.
big
They're decent.
it's a big, you know. So I mean, it's just crushing her light and it's just crushing the side of this car that she's just pushing into. So yeah, I mean, that was my story, and the only thing I regret is not recording a single bit of it. Like, it would have been a great day to wear a body camera.
Sure.
And all of that, like, I couldn't tell you if I was in there for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I have no idea. It was like the Twilight Zone in there. Like, I was just stuck. I was just stuck. It was fucking insane.
Well, oh my god, here it is. The problem with places such as a Meijer and or a Walmart, really a Walmart now, is that when they got rid of the 24 hours, you get a lot of these nighttime walkers getting in there at times that they just shouldn't be in there. You know what I mean? Where maybe didn't see as much of it earlier because that's like a 2 a.m. type of a situation. Not middle of the day. And I think that as soon as they left the 24-hour model, it went to shit, and it went to shit quick. And that's just me being honest with you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it definitely went to shit. So, I mean, that was insane. It was just like one of those things. It's like nobody's going to believe me. But there's just no way I could make all this up. Like, it was insane. It was actual, like, chaos in there.
I don't
The
enjoy
next,
shopping at all. Like I do the pickup every single time I possibly can. Like the few times, like on Friday when I had to run in, yesterday when I had to run in to like Meijer and grab a couple things really quickly. I mean, it's just horrible. The whole process of going into a store is horrible. I don't need that. I just need to swipe the card, get my shit, and bounce.
yeah, I mean, back in the day, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, well,
It used to not be that bad to go into any store. But I mean, the people have just ruined the
I
places. I mean, and Walmart's always been a bad one.
yeah,
Everybody always says, Walmart's known to have the crazies. Walmart this, Walmart that. I mean, it was just like, I mean, I've had like, I've seen the people in Walmart, wearing the Cookie Monster sweatpants or the Cookie Monster pajama pants, and
sure.
you know the weirdos and the crazy ghetto things, and like, I've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was just next level. Next
Which Walmart
level.
was this?
It would be the Walmart in Troy on West Maple.
Huh. Because that Meijer that's by you, I'm not a fan of. I don't like the Meijer that's right next to you.
To be fair, I've only ever been in that Meijer maybe 3 times.
I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like the layout
Wait, the Meijer by my house or the Meijer by my work?
by your house.
Oh, I hate that Meijer.
It's right across from your house, yeah.
I hate that
A little
Meijer.
bit down, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of that Meijer. I don't know, like, who designed that Meijer, but it's horrible. And it like never has anything.
Yeah, the layout of it is just horrible.
It used to be a Kmart when I was a kid.
I think they do that shit on purpose though to make you walk like all the way to the back to get shit. That way you have to pass everything. You know.
Yeah, that is the design of it. Like, it's like one of those things like where they like don't make things conveniently near each other. Like the whole entire, like, in order to get anything refrigerated, you got to like start at the very beginning of it and make your way all the way to the back.
Yeah.
Like, you're there for meat and cheese. Well, guess what? You're on a half-mile journey.
Sure.
So, yeah. Something going on with your dog right now?
Rosie. She's having a dehydration moment where she like will not stop drinking water.
Isn't it crazy that your old dog used to do that and now your current dog does that too?
Well, Sky was bad with that shit. She would pound water. I mean, she would. Rosie's pretty bad too, but not really because she'll go like
Walter,
a day where she just like won't drink water. Like it's sitting there.
Walter does that shit too.
I'll fill it 4 times in a day, and it's like all right. Sometimes I put some ice in it just to make it, a little bit cooler, a little colder for them. Try to be polite and whatnot. Yeah, no, I don't really. I don't honestly. I don't have anything crazy that's happened in the last couple of weeks. It's been a fairly normal few weeks. Just work, kids, bed, repeat. No, I
I get
did.
that. I get that.
I did get the old whatever it's called. norovirus or whatever. I'm pretty sure, which was not fun last week. That wasn't much fun. Took me off for a couple days. Lost a lot of weight though, that was nice. That was good to see that happened because of it, which is fine because I don't really mind. I have my stomach problems in my life, so I'm like very accustomed to that world. It's really just the throwing up that gets me. Like I am the kind of person that despises throwing up like with my whole heart. Like when I know I need to, I will do everything and anything in my absolute power to not puke because I fucking despise it. Now, alcohol puke is a different world. That's a completely different thing. That I just get out because then you feel so unbelievably good when you're done. That's not the same thing. But as far as like being sick, I can't. What are we doing right now? What is happening? We're just going through the desk mid pod.
I mean, there's just so much crazy shit in there. I just like keep finding more and more shit.
You just pulling out the most random shit I can ever imagine.
Yeah. I'm just like, I just keep opening up drawers. I'm like, oh, look, another thing. Yeah, I don't know. I got sick too. I was literally shitting my brains out and throwing up at the same time. I literally threw up. I was sitting on the toilet, threw up on the bath mat. It was pure banana nut muffin when I threw up too. So that really ruined banana nut muffins for me for a hot minute.
Your wife had it first. So
She did have it. I thought I missed it completely. I mean, everybody around me got it. Everybody. In-laws, my mother, my mother's friends, my wife, people at work, everybody got it. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, oh, I'm past it. I'm long past it. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man, my stomach just hurts. And it's not like, it's like you said, we're used to shitting. We're big shitters.
no, it's
And,
crazy. It's a crazy how fast. Because like I took that Monday off of work like a while ago. Beautiful weather. Ended up playing golf that day. No issues whatsoever. I didn't really eat anything. I literally had an Uncrustable and I had 2 McChickens that day, and that was it. And I felt great, like no issues, no problems. And then like later on in the night, I was just like, woof, like my stomach was bad. I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, whatever, bad stomach, no big deal. But then it like proceeded all the way throughout the night. Like it was like 8 o'clock. It just fucking hit me. I was perfectly fine, and then boom. And then throughout the night was horrible. Tuesday was horrible. I didn't end up having to work on Tuesday. Wednesday wasn't great. Thursday morning was rough. And then throughout the day, I just kind of, I got better. And then by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I started to feel a lot better. And then by Monday, I was right back to action, right back to the good old Austin.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I still have like a little lingering of it. I've been pooping a lot. I mean, it's just not been great.
Yeah.
But it's definitely better. It's not good, but it's definitely better.
Yeah, no. I mean, other than that, though, I don't really have. I can't even think. I don't even know what happened. I don't know what I had for dinner last night, so I can't even think about what happened fucking a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't even know. I
You
couldn't.
didn't call me last night, so I asked. I also don't know what you had for dinner last night.
Well, last night I had Vegas night for work, so.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm aware of that now, actually.
Which that was fun. It was a good night though. Good time. I like that my company does stuff like that because it's not like they don't do. You go to so many companies where they do great or they have a good year or whatever. It's like let's have a pizza party, let's do whatever, which is like it's whatever. But some of the companies they like put this type of shit on, or they like do something like that for people, but it's just like it's not very cool. Like it's not fun. Nobody comes, but they do a really good job. They rent out this whole like half of a bar grill area. There's a huge space, a bunch of tables. There's open bar, bunch of you can do blackjack, crabs, Texas, any of the games or whatnot. And then they had a bunch of raffles. I didn't win anything, which was upsetting. So each employee got like 5 little name tags they could like put in what they wanted. There was like one of those ginormous Yeti coolers. They had like a prime rib dinner for 2 type something or whatever, or 2-night stay at Soaring Eagle, courtside Pistons game, like a whole bunch of random shit like that. And she was
Pretty
pissed
good.
at me because I put like 3 of the 5 into the Yeti cooler thing because that's what I wanted. And she's like, well, we already have so many coolers. I'm like, well, I don't have a giant Yeti cooler, and that would be cool to have. She's like, well, do the Pistons game or do something else, whatever. And I was like, whatever. So I didn't win anything, but it was a good time. Good time with a lot of employees and stuff. It's always good to get to see them out in their natural habitat. Not like at work. Conversations were a bit different than per se, which is fun. You get to learn some stuff about some people and. I always enjoy that.
Very interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Those employee parties are always fun. Usually, uh, sometimes you get to the ones. Lee was very good at putting them on too. I really enjoyed being there. Some of their parties were quite fun. The Christmas parties were a big deal there. We
Hmm.
used to do a lot of raffles there. I never won a raffle there though.
Well, last year I
I,
won something because I like just started there last year, and I literally was like
man,
got there and I sat down and they were like, "Austin, come on up," and I cannot for the life of me remember what I won. If it was like a $100 gift card or like a day off of work or so, I honestly don't remember what it was. But this
yeah,
year,
that's what companies need to be raffling off. Like just like random like that's
that's
what
what
they
they
should
did.
be
They were
doing.
like an extra PTO day last year. I remember that being one of the things.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be like an extra PTO day. They should just pick a day. It should be like, you know what? March 17th, 2026. You just have it off.
Sure.
Whoever wins this raffle, they just pick like a random day. They do 12 of them. They just pick one a month.
Yeah.
You know, they just raffle those off. That's a good incentive to
It was
somebody.
cool though. They did one where it was like you win like a random amount of money that was in an envelope. I think it was like $500, and then they had two like giant like cards. Like one was like a red diamonds or whatever, and one was a fucking 10 of diamonds, and one was like a club. I don't know, 6 of spades, whatever it was. But they were like the cards were like this big, and you had to like pick
Uh-huh.
one of the two and then flip it over. And if you got the black, you just keep the money in it. But if you got the red, it doubled. So like one of
Ooh.
the newer guys that like just started won, and he goes over, and everybody was like freaking out. Like the 100 some people are there like yelling, and he like flips over the card, and it was red, and everybody went fucking crazy. It was awesome. So that was cool. I mean, he got $1,000. Sitting there walking home, which is pretty. That was pretty tits. That was cool. And I remember because
That's a pretty awesome one.
I went to the owner's office on like Thursday or Friday, whatever Thursday, and I was like, "Oh, you excited about tomorrow night?" He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "It's Vegas night. It'll be a good time, whatever." And he goes, "Yeah, it's great because it's a lot of money." I was like, "Yeah, I guess from your perspective, it's probably not as much fun as it is for us, but we appreciate
Yeah,
it."
they always bitch about it, but they have so much fun at those kinds of
Oh, it was
things.
great. It was a good time. It was. I like the owner's wife too. She's great. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Good time. Good time. Good
The,
company.
own,
Good group of people.
the owners are usually the ones that get the most fucked up by those things.
Yeah, they left pretty early though. They came by at like 9:30, and they're like, "All right, we're going home." We were there till like
Oh
11.
man, yeah, that is pretty early. I just found an American Spirits advertisement full of coupons. Let's see what we got here. I haven't smoked American Spirits in 4 years. $3 off one pack, $2 off one pack. That's not bad. I mean, $3 off a pack. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. When are these expiring? Hmm. These have been expired for over a year. Oh no, they're just about to hit a year. Oh, that was the mobile offer. You got to do that with the old mobile.
How's everything?
Smoking cigarettes is such a weird thing. Oh my god, no! I got to talk to you about this. This one's gonna get your brain going. You remember the Sorens? How those were like the big thing at one point in time? We all had one.
I do.
I found one of those old cartridges of that thing, and it just really brought me back to just like how the vapes evolved. And it's like I was really into the vape up until the dispo. Once the Mr. Vapor came out, that was kind of like when I started falling off. I remember like doing like the breeze, like the first pen for a little while. But once those dispos were like the thing, I just was really out of it.
Uh,
Excuse me. But I mean, we started with the Jewel. Well, I mean, we started with the mods. The zero neck. Like, doesn't this look cool when I make this big cloud that smells like cotton candy? That's what we really started with. Then you came out with the Jewel and the old mango pod and the was it mint? I think it was just mint. It was just flat out mint. Those were the two, the mango and the mint.
I'm sorry.
And then,
Do you remember a Katie,
do I remember a Katie?
like a friend or somebody that you knew named Katie that wanted me to come and do like windows for them? Do you remember this person? It would have
No.
been from 2022.
Friend of mine that wanted you to go do windows for her.
Well, all I know is the contact says Katie job from Willett. And the last time we talked was 2022 about replacing these two windows. Sorry to interrupt. She literally just texted me. Like she just texted me right now. And she said, "Hey Austin, we had some plumbing issues come up and weren't able to handle the windows right away, but we are more than ready to get those done now. Text me if you're available this weekend." From 4 years ago. 4 years ago. It just says Katie job from Willet.
I wonder if it's somebody who I sold a job to at Oregon. I have no idea. I have no idea who that could be.
Yeah, I don't know either. But the last time I talked to her was 2022.
Hmm. I'm really kind of lost at who that would be.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But yeah,
No,
the vapes are what you're talking about. I apologize.
yeah. I mean, it was just crazy, like how fast those things evolved, and like how fast like they just went away.
Well, the crazy part is how bad that we are with them now, in the sense of like when the Mr. Vapor, which is like this one, for instance, is like a newer version. Like the original thin two tone, like the top was blue, the bottom was red, like Lush Ice, for example, like those. Like I remember those having like 350 puffs, is like what they had, and they would last like a week or 2 weeks. And it was like, $10, $15, whatever it was for those. And now you have like these that have like 30,000 plus puffs. You know what I mean? They get like a week out of them. It is crazy to crazy thing about where they were and now where they are.
I haven't bought a vape in so long. I mean, like, literally years since the last time I bought or hit a vape. They just got way too much for me. Way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just the thought about them is crazy. The fact that you still do it is the most insane part to me. But it's also like the thing that's insane to me. Like I was on that first wave of the Zins and the Rogues and all that. And I got all the way up to like the 6 milligrams, and I even hit the nines at a couple of points. But I mean, there's people doing like 16 milligram
Well, I mean, it's like
Zins, and like
I stopped like randomly cold turkey for literally an entire year. I went an entire year without vaping, like without a single thing, nothing. I went a whole year, and then we went up to
mhm,
deer camp, not last year, but the year before, and I was like
mhm,
just randomly bought one at the gas station for literally no reason, and then that's what did it all again, and now here we are
mhm,
years later. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a horrible thing. It's a terrible terrible thing. But what I love is it's like you know I don't know it's just one of those things that's it's like people always have an opinion. It's like I don't
mhm,
remember ever walking up to somebody that smokes cigarettes like every time I see them and just like give them shit for it. Where it's like everybody now, it's like I don't talk shit about people fucking drinking, having a drink every single night. I'm not like, oh well, look at us drinking, but like people at work, like everybody, they'll just like always say shit. It's like, hey dude, why don't you just shut the fuck up, okay? I'll fucking I'll deal with me, you deal with you, and we'll be just fine in the middle. So.
yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of that where the whatchamacallits nowadays too. The uh with cigarettes too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if anybody sees you with a cigarette, they're just like,
Well, it's like
bah,
it's
you know,
almost
like
like it's like taboo now. Like you
yeah.
never see anybody.
No, if you see a person our age with a cigarette, it like catches you off guard. You're like, holy shit, what are you doing with that thing?
I agree.
The the only time you ever see me with a cigarette anymore is if I've been like really drinking. If listen, if you see a cigarette in my hand, no, I'm fucked up. Like I'm two sheets to the wind, big dog. Like don't come over there and start talking to me about anything to do with how bad a cigarette is or anything of that nature because
Mm-hmm.
that is not the time. I am wasted.
Like say 2 sheets to the wind.
I don't know. I might be half a sheet to the wind at that point.
There it is.
So, but yeah, I mean it's something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, cigarettes also just was like. I mean, that was a thing for so long. I mean, you got to think about it. They started like smoking cigarettes was a very normal thing back in like the early 2000s.
I would agree. I would agree.
Like,
I mean, listen,
or I'm sorry, like
I go
in
into
the
houses all
20s.
the time. I went to a house on whatever day it was, Thursday or Wednesday. I think it was Thursday. It was Thursday. No, Wednesday. And like you walk into this house, and it's just yellow. The house is just yellow. You know, the walls are yellow, the carpet, that's just yellow house, ceiling's yellow, and it's just insane. You know, it's crazy. Those people are interesting.
Yeah.
People are interesting.
Yeah. You know how many times we looked at a house and like we'd walk in and we're like, Jesus Christ, they've just been smoking in here for 30 years.
Oh, and when it's like that too, like there's like
Mm-hmm.
very little you can do, especially if they still live there. Like there's nothing that they can do when they sell it to get it out. You know what I mean? Like once you buy it, you know, you can rip up the carpet and paint and do all the other shit. But like when they're trying to sell the house, like there's nothing you can do if they still live there. It's horrible. I go into a lot still where they'll have like a random chair or something in the garage, you know, with like a little table with like a cigarette thing and whatnot. Like that's still fairly common, but as far as in the house is not nearly as much.
No, I mean, there was one house we went into. I mean, we touched the door and we were like, "Yep, just turn around." I mean, it was they had owned the house since the '60s and they've done nothing but smoke 3 packs a day in it.
Good for them.
And it's just crazy to think about like just like lighting up a cigarette in your house. Like even when I smoked, I mean, granted I rented at the time, but I still got up and like went outside. Like that was like part of the enjoyable part about smoking a cigarette though, was getting up and like walking out of your house.
Sure.
And like it was like a break. It was always like a break from like life and society, like you're just outside just smoke. Now in the wintertime it wasn't as enjoyable. I did not smoke much in the winter.
Sure.
Like at work I did just because it was like the break from the kitchen or whatever, or break from managing. But once I got home I wasn't like a even like people who smoke in their cars. Like I mean I rarely ever smoke in my car.
Yeah.
My Ford Focus, I did smoke in that. I remember smoking cigars on that thing, though.
I mean, you also drank a lot more then too, though.
I did drink a lot more back then. I did drink a lot more back then. The hardest part about drinking now is just like, what am I doing on Tuesday night? Just catching a quick buzz and going to bed. Like right now, I just don't have the time for it. Like literally, time's the killer. Like I'm gonna catch a quick buzz, and it's gonna be midnight.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like really over the last year, but over the last like 6 months or so, I've picked it up quite a bit more than I did for a while. But I did so much in like college, but I just kind of like weaned off for a little while. I was a very heavy social drinker. But like in my
Yeah,
house, I would never just drink. Where now, like it's pretty often. It's probably 2 or 3 days a week. I'll come home
you know.
and I'll have
See, I think a lot of what happened for me though was like I used to be a big like come home have a couple beers kind of person. It's just so hard to come home and have 3, 4 beers.
yes.
Like they just sit heavier in your
That's what
belly.
I've gotten more into now. Like, cause I'll go through phases where like I'll find a beer that I like when
Mhm.
like those Yingling flights. You know, I went through a good month or so where I mean it was probably 4 or 5 every single night. Like I just go home and just do like 4 or 5 because you get home at like anywhere between 5 and 7, and then so by like an hour, there's a couple in there, and I do the old like freezer thing, where I'd like take it out of the fridge, put it in the freezer, drink one out of the freezer. When that one's done, I always like have a new one, so it was like ice cold. And they
Mhm.
just hit like especially in the summer. Like the summer is when I really do that a lot because I genuinely enjoy it. Like, cause I'll be outside, it's hot as shit all day. I'm sweating, it's a long day. I get home after like 11 hours, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do 3, 4, 5, 6 of these real quick, and then I just go to bed, and then I wake up and I do it all over again. And I do it all.
Yeah, I mean, your kids are also slightly more self efficient right now,
Yeah,
or
one of
self. I mean, so maybe that make like you don't have to hold the bracelet for her to go to bed.
no, absolutely not. No, I put her in there and then I yell at her repeatedly until she falls asleep.
I mean,
I get
that works
into a
too.
huge argument with somebody at work. It's like the kids thing. There's certain things I just don't talk about at work. Like I try not to. There's a couple people I'll talk to because like we honestly have like the same views, but like I try not to talk politics very much. Um,
Hmm.
and then like I don't talk about like parenting. Because like I don't give a shit what you do with your kid. No different
Hmm.
than give a shit what I do with mine. And there was like one person the other day who just like went on an absolute tyrant about like sleep training and how it's like so unbelievably abusive and this, that, and the other. And I was like, not a single person here is trying to argue with you about it. It's just he's one of those people who like wants to argue about everything. You know what I mean? Like even if it's
Hmm.
something I agree with, like they want to argue. And I'm like, don't sleep train. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to. It's extreme this. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's great.
That,
You know what I mean? I don't, I truly could not give less a fuck what you do, you know, and how you raise your children. That sounds like a you thing. And he's like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, it's not really important what I do. What I do is different than what you do. And we'll both go to sleep and wake up and put our pants on the same way. So I don't know why it matters.
I mean, I think it's important for you to be like, for you to set that expectation for your kid. Like, hey, 9 o'clock at night, that's
Everybody does it
wine
different.
time. Yeah, I
Every
mean, like, I
person in
mean,
all of our friend group that have kids all do it extremely differently. And somehow all of the kids are still alive. So, I
yeah.
mean, clearly, I think it'll be just fine.
Okay, now I found Newport coupons.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to deal with that with anything and everything in the world. Like, it's just going to.
A lot of opinions. People have a lot of opinions. I
Yeah,
think
it's something.
it's a real fake. That's the problem, though, is it's a real Facebook world. We have the people who like wake up and they post on Facebook like, just got up, brushing my teeth. Like the world doesn't need to know that. And then those people go into the world and they just like, you know, it's like everything. They just feel like their thoughts just have to be out there. You could
Yeah,
argue that the same way. I mean, we're sitting here recording a podcast describing your feelings, so, but we're not
I
supposed
mean,
to
yeah,
be here.
that's true.
You know,
That's true.
neither are
It's
you.
very true. Everything you're saying right now is very, very true.
Yeah, I think that I
And yeah,
talked to one of the guys at work the other day, and I was just talking about how we were just kind of driving, and I was like, one of the best things, like, not, I don't know what you want to call it, like self-realization, I guess you can say, that, like, I feel like I've personally made over the last year or so is just that every aspect, like, it's like the whole, like, just hypocritical aspect of life, And
hmm
it's like, I think that once you can understand that, like, 90% of what you do is very hypocritical compared to maybe what you've said or what you think or whatever it is. And I'm like, it's just better that way. It's just better that way.
yeah.
It's just better for me to be like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know
I,
what.
I think like one of the like craziest like wake up calls to me, and like that the world's just very different, this, that, and the other, was working at Oregon, and like just seeing the difference in homes, like
Yeah.
it was just it was very different. Everybody does things their own way.
Yeah.
And I'd go into a home. I'd go into a home. It was a nice house, like, but it wasn't like it was your very average American family home. Like, you're just maybe 2,000 square foot with a basement, two three bed, or 3 4 bedrooms, 2 3 bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Very very normal house. And I'd get up in their attic and be like, listen, you got a problem. They'd be like, oh, okay, like we thought something would come up, and blah blah blah, and they'd be like, listen, it's gonna be 8 grand. We have to do a full attic remediation. I'd be like, ooh, that's a little steep, but is there anything we can do to get that price down? And you'd be like, yeah, I mean, I can do this, 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 and this. And they're like, you know what? We want to do it right. So why don't we just do the first thing? And I'm like, all right, like we'll get it done for 7,500. How about that? And they'd be like, you know what? Cool. Thanks for doing it. And then I'd do it and they'd write a check. And then I would go to this multi-million-dollar fucking house, this just massive mansion. And I'd get up in their attic and I'd be like, you have a real, real, real problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. Like, it's bad. Like, if you don't do anything and you try to sell this house, it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
And they, and those would be the people that look at me and be like, yeah, I don't have the money for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, well, we have some really good financing opportunities, this, that, and the other. And they'd be like, yeah, we won't get approved.
No, I think that because I don't even know. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, let's just say. Let's just say. 4 times. It's 4,000. I mean, it's in the tens of thousands. It's probably north of 20,000 houses I've been into over the last 5 years. Let's say it's got to be more than 20,000. I mean, just in the last year, it's been over 5,000. So I mean, it's got to be over 20,000. And so I've seen, and I'm talking, a trailer that's put up by fucking drywall and like $5 million houses. You know what I mean? So like, and I'll go one after the next. You know what I mean? Like throughout the day, like I'll bounce around. And I completely agree. Like the shit that I see, how different people live, is just,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not talking bad. Like I'm not going to get in any specifics. Um, but it is very eye opening just to see how different people live.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, and that was just one example I used. That was just one example. I mean, like You go into one house, and it would be they have aisles because they have so much shit in there,
Oh yeah,
like literal aisles.
yeah.
And then you go into another hoarder house, and there would be no aisles. There was just shit.
Well, it's funny because like
You know, it's just
I mean, I've been to. I love it when I like if I'll because I go in and out of customers' homes all the time, so I'll like call a customer, let them know I'm on my way, and it's hilarious because almost always, especially if it's like a wife, the husband never really says it, but if it's a wife, they almost always will be like, "Oh, by the way, we just." They always say the same thing. It's like we're moving or we're renovating or we're doing something and the basement's destroyed or the house is flipped upside down. They give some reasoning behind it, even though it's been
mm-hmm.
like that for 8+ years now.
Oh
And
yeah,
I love it because like 9 times out of 10, when they make a big deal over the phone, they're like, "I'm so sorry for the mess. I'm so sorry for the base." Or you walk in there and you're walking downstairs and you're like, "I'm so sorry for the mess." 9 times out of 10, it's like one of the more clean places I've ever been in my life. And like they have like a couple of like their kids' toys in the corner or something. They're like, "I'm so sorry for all the clutter." It's like that. But then like I had one this past week where they're like, "I'm just letting you know ahead of time, like the house is flipped upside down." And I'm like, "Oh, it's no problem. Like we hear that all the time, no big deal." And then you walk into it and you're like, "Whoa, this is
yeah,
this is this is okay. All right. I'm gonna leave
yeah,
shoe covers in the van.
yeah.
Because I'm gonna literally get them more dirty than I would be if I wore my boots." And you're like, yeah, and I'm not talking shit about those people. It is what it is. But
No.
it's very interesting to see that because then like I'll come home, and
Mm-hmm.
Brooke will be like, "The fucking house is destroyed. We gotta clean this, whatever." And I'm like, well, I mean, in the grand scheme of
You don't know Detroit.
it's actually really fucking clean, to be honest with you. We just have a few of Grayson's toys laying around. But it is. I think about that shit all the time, just how like certain people live and just the differences. And then it's like, but I'll tell you what I love. Like we talked about this a few weeks ago, but I love going into somebody's house that they like made their house. Maybe it like doesn't make
Yeah.
logical sense what they did. It certainly doesn't help the resale value, whatever. But they just made it
Mm-hmm.
like that's what works for them, and that's what they love, and that's their house. I love that shit. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
guys
I mean,
spent
look at
so
your
much
dad.
money on this house, and you're fucking like you're living there, like it's your house. Especially the people who like buy it at like 20 and they literally live there till they're dead. I think of like my
Mm-hmm.
grandparents in Emily City. Like they've had that house for
Mm-hmm.
50+ years. Like it's just their house. They built it. They did everything how they wanted. It's just like because you'll see shit and you're like, well, that's not right. That's not right. But it's just like what works for them. You know.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you see it all the time. I mean, especially in the like, look at your dad. Look at the way he built his house.
Yeah.
The guy's got an entire bar that has a humidifier or a humidor and a fucking. I mean, it's got
Built in the ceiling.
uh, air filters. Yeah, in the ceiling. I mean,
Just
guy's got a urinal,
down there. Yeah, it's got a
giant gun safe, a gun safe in the bar. Not many people are like, you know what? Let's mix the guns and alcohol. And he's like, you know what? Put the fucking safe in the bar, so when we're drinking, I can just walk straight to it.
Sure. Yeah, and I love it too because like they're gonna sell that house. So like a lot
Yeah,
of the shit that they did was for the next people. It might not
yeah.
have been like what they perceived. Like that's something like me
Mhm.
and Brooke were talking about when we were looking at houses the other day, and I was like, well, I don't really give a shit about the next people. Like I could give a fuck less. Like wherever we move, we're gonna be there for a very long time, unless some
Yeah.
miracle something happens. So I'm like, I could give a fuck less about the resale. I could absolutely give a fuck less. Like that's like realtors love talking in that, like talking in those terms. Where they're like, well, the
Mhm.
resale and the resale, and like, because I was talking to Stin the other day, and he was talking about getting like a whole house generator. And he was like, "Well, the
Mhm.
problem is like how much it costs compared to like what we get back when we sell it." And I go, "I don't understand that logic. Doesn't fit my brain very well. It just doesn't make sense to me." I'm like, "Why do we want the whole house generator? Because we lose power, okay, and we don't want to lose power. We want to have power, all right. So then you get one because it solves that problem. I could give a fuck less about the resale value in fucking 25 years from now. Like I don't know. But again, everybody has very different brains and how they think of shit. You know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly what it is. So, a lot of people like they're like, I'm not gonna do this, or like they do work to something. It's like the Trex deck. I'm always talking like people when we worked for Jeff. That was the main thing when I was working in sales there. They'd come talk to me about Trex and they'd be like, "Well, what's the resale value on Trex?" And I go, "It's really not much more than a normal deck." But the problem is like, are you going to live there for another 5 years? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to live there for like, are you going to do this for yourself so you don't have to keep up the maintenance
Mm-hmm.
for the next 5 years? And then they would be like, "Well, yeah, but like that's a lot of money, and when we plan to sell this house."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't like you're planning for something to come up. and you're customizing it for somebody else is what you're doing. Yeah. You don't need to do that.
Well, it's like hot water heaters. It's like the tankless water heaters. It's like, it's true that they are more efficient, and eventually they will pay for themselves, but it takes an extremely long period of time. It's like when we're talking to people, I'll be like, well, are we going to live here for a while? Because if we're moving in 3 years, it just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to, like, if you want it because you want it and it's awesome, then that's all that matters. But if you're getting it and you're worried about it because you're going to move, like, you're sure as shit not going to, the whole, like, sales tactic of, like, well, it'll pay for itself, I promise you it won't. Not in the 3 years that you'll be here. You know what I mean? But then again, the other people who, like, yeah, no, I'm here for, like, 6 months and I just kind of want it. I'm like, awesome. We take all forms of plastic.
I told Lauren, I was like, ours ever goes out, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if we're on our way out the door or not. I want a tankless water heater when that one goes out.
I love it.
And people are like, well, why would you just not get one now if you want it so bad? I'm like, well, I got a working water heater. There's no reason for me to go in there and start tearing that bad boy out.
Yeah, but, I get that shit with people with like furnaces all the time too. Like I went into this other guy's house, and like my whole thing is, it's like I have a real issue in life in general when people like ask me, like there's two different versions of asking for somebody's opinion. Okay, one is like, I genuinely do not know what I'm doing and you do, so I want to know what's the right way to do it. And two is, I've already made up my mind, but I need confirmation bias to tell myself that I'm doing the right thing. Like, there's really only those two things. And I can't stand when somebody will look at me with like X amount of problems they have, okay? And then I give them the solution to those problems, and then they decide to do the exact opposite, and then they get very upset when their problems are not solved. Like I had a guy who, he has like a massive house, like I mean, it's probably 3,700 square feet. Upstairs is another, probably 1,500 because it's not the full size. It's like kind of just the one side. In his whole thing, but the furnace was like, it was when they first built it. It was like builder grade, super, super small. It was a single stage, so it didn't push a lot of air up. And, they're like, we're going to live, they're going to retire there. So for the next 30, 40, 50 years, they're going to live there. And he's like, I just really want to get the air up there. Mind you, the furnace we're talking is like 28 years old. Like, this thing's just not going to last a long time. And he's like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I don't care what you do, but like, here are your options, when it comes to either fixing it or replacing it. He had a bad inducer motor is what the problem was. So I'm like, you can get this, whatever. It's like $800. Cool. We'll keep it moving. I was like, or you're replacing, you go this way with it. And he's like, well, he's like, what would you do? And I'm like, well, I'm not you. So I don't know what I would do. I tell you what I'm going to do, but it's not what you're going to do. So whatever. And he's like, I think that if we put this in and we can get a few more years out of it, it'll be fine. And I go, okay, well, it's very old and you're going to have more problems. And he's like, yeah, we'll roll the dice. So whatever. No big deal. He gets the new inducer. 4 days later, he has like an electrical thing with all those power outages, right? But he lives right by you, where all those power outages happen. Fries the board, okay? Which then internally like fried the gas valve or whatever it was. So now we're at like another 2,000. So now we're damn near pushing $3,000. So I go back to him, and I'm like, okay, here's the problem. Here it is. Whatever, we're gonna fix it. And then he looks at me and he's like, so you're telling me that in the last week and a half, like I've spent 80% of a new furnace? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, well, can you like just take that money off of like a new one then if I buy a new one? I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. And then he loses his shit on me. He starts freaking out on me. And I'm like, hey, remember when like you asked me for my opinion and I specifically told you what was going to happen if we did this? Well, that's what's fucking happening now. And then they look at you like you're crazy. And they're like, well, my brother Tom in Alaska replaced one of these things and he got another 10 years out of it. I'm like, I love that for Tom. Okay, I do. But you are not Tom. Anyways, this is the total. I'd love to help you. But that's what I deal with on like a daily basis as people. So like I get so blunt with people now when they ask me that shit, because I get asked at least 3 times a day, well, what would you do? What would you do? And like now it's to the point where I look at them and I go, well, it's really unfair for me to answer that because like I can do all this shit myself. So it's pretty unfair for me to say like, what would I do? Because my thing may be different than your thing. I'll tell you what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't put $3,000 into a 30-year-old furnace. I can tell you that for fucking free. But, and then boilers, I started, working on those a lot. That's a whole different fucking world because that thing's like 30 years old, but they last forever. And every minor fucking problem is over $2,000. I mean, I literally didn't have a single job that wasn't well over 2. And I love the boiler people because they're like, you'll ask them like, what do you want to do? And they're like, well, I guess I don't have much choice, do I? And I mean, they're not wrong. Like, you don't either fix it or you have no heat. But with the furnaces, it's just funny. Like, it's just hilarious to me, the difference in people. It goes back to the whole, like, how they live. Just like the way that people make these decisions. It cracks me up. Like, we're about to get into AC season here, and it's going to be a lot of fun conversations with ignorant people. Very excited.
I mean, obviously, when the most amount of sales that I did was obviously at Oregon, and it was a lot of like, hey, something is living in my house with me that I don't want living in my house with me.
Well, that's
And
like
I'd go to
even
them.
the deck thing too, and that's like when it comes to like that's like what I love about like furnace compared to AC is a lot like the deck compared to like the Orkin shit for you, where it's like you don't need a new deck, you don't. Like, you will live, your house will survive, everything will be fine. It might look like shit, you may have to go a different way into whatever, but like you'll make it without a deck right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty hard to just continuously live with like mold and animal shit, whatever else going on in the house. It's you'll make it without AC. Like, that's what I love with people is like, I promise you'll survive. You know what I mean? It sucks. I need AC more than anybody. I turned the AC on last Monday when it was 70 degrees. Like, I need the AC, but you'll live. Where like furnaces, like, you have to have it. Like, it's not a conversation of like, well, maybe we'll do this, whatever. It's like, no, dude, like, you have to have it. You'll freeze, your pipes will freeze. We're talking tens of thousands. And people don't get that. Like, I'll come up and be like, hey, your wire nut was loose on your AC. Do I need a new AC? Because it's going to be really hot this summer. I'm like, no, it's 3 years old. There's literally nothing wrong with it. I just tightened something. Everything's good. And then the furnace, I'll be like, hey, I can put my hand through your heat exchanger. Like, it's 45 years old. What are we going to do? It's like, well, you think I can get another year out of it? I'm like, you can't get another 5 minutes out of it, pal. No. And they're like, well, we're just going to kind of ride it out. Like, it's insane to me how, like, and I guess it's because it's not sexy. Like you redo your kitchen. Like, you have your friends over, like, oh, hey, check out what we did with the cabinets and with the whatever. Like, it's nice. You do a bathroom. Like, you spend a lot of time in the kitchen. You spend a lot of time in the bathroom. You get a new mattress. You sleep on it every night. It's not like you have people over, you're like, hey, come check out this new furnace I just bought. You know what I mean? That's not like a sports car in the fucking garage. It's not a sexy purchase, but it's a very important purchase.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing is like it's like when somebody wants a deck, it's because, or when somebody gets a deck, it's because they want a deck.
Yeah.
When somebody gets a furnace, it's because they need it.
Yes.
And when you have to do something that you need, like, I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, I put racing brakes on my fucking 2002 Mazda C8 fucking piece of poop, and you're like,
you're right.
Wow, that's very cool. But then you'll be talking to the guy who's like, yeah, I have a 2026 fucking Ford F-150, and I blew a brake line the other day. And they're pissed. And it's like, well, you need the brakes. But homeboy over here in the 2002 is like, I'm going to spend as much money as I can because they wanted to do that thing. It's just the difference.
It's a lot easier to spend money when you want to than when you need to. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it pains me when somebody comes to me and they're like, you have to spend the money on this. And I'm like,
I get that.
Do I have to, though?
Yeah.
Like, it's because now somebody's telling you have to spend the money on something.
Yeah, there's no excitement.
And you're
like, oh, I get to do this, or I want to do this, or check this new thing. Yeah, you're right with that completely. Yeah, you're not.
I mean, some people are very prepared for that, though. Like, some people are like,
well, it's the whole prepared versus scared. Like, that's why I ask people, like, because I'll go into whatever the situation is, like, let's say it's older, it's whatever. I usually try to gauge them, like, with what they want. 'Cause, like, I mean this when I say it. Like, I really just want to do whatever I can do to help them. Like, if it's a fix it, if it's a replace it, if it's a whatever, like, I just want to know. I don't want to waste my time or their time. So I usually ask them, and people look at me like I'm crazy. Because I'll look them in the eyes and I'll be like, well, are you like a reaction person or a proactive person? And most people will act like they're proactive, but they're almost all reactive. And I'm like, and they're like, well, why do you ask that? And I'm like, well, the question is, like, especially when it comes to like HVAC, because like a furnace isn't going to break when it's warm out. You know what I'm saying? It's going to break when it's freezing fucking cold and like you have no option. So again, it goes back to what you just said, where it's like you have to, and you're going to be backed into a corner where you have to make that decision. Or are we proactive where we're like, hey, I know that this is going to be a problem. I don't want to deal with it when it is a problem. So let's just get something new now and not have to worry about it. And it's funny because, like I said, most people will say, like, they almost all 9 out of 10 are like, oh, I'm very proactive. And I'm like, okay. I'm in your home right now, so there's no reason to lie to me. Like, I can look around. I don't think they were very proactive when it comes to this shit. And I would argue like 9 out of 10 people are reactive, especially with shit like you said, shit like you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to, you have to. You know.
Well, yeah. It's like you said. It's like, do I put 10 grand into my kitchen right now? And I mean, and I enjoy this fucking kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Or do I put 10 grand into a furnace
Sure.
and I have the same heat that I have right now?
Yeah.
And that's how people look at it. And then you're like, hey, yeah, your furnace is dog poo poo.
Mm-hmm.
Or hey,
Dog pooper.
there's
That's what I thought.
hey, hey, I just got down from your attic. I know that you called me out here for a free inspection, but by the way, I want 9 grand because you have an extreme bat problem,
Yeah.
and we need to completely remove all the insulation that's up there and put more in.
Mm-hmm.
There was people whose attics I would get in, and they'd be like, "How is it up there?" And I'd be like, "It's pretty good. You have a little bit of sign of mice," and they'd be like, "Mice."
Yeah.
They'd be like,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
"What do we do?"
Yeah, they're like, there's a loose wire.
Yeah,
Do I need to
mice.
get a new one?
What do we have to do? And I'd look at him and be like, listen, every attic I go in has signs of mice. It's not that big of a deal.
Yep.
Like, this is what we can do. You're already a part of our program. So, you're already getting, so most of that mouse activity is probably prior to you even being a part of our program. This, that, and the other. And they would be like, is there anything else you got to say? And I'd be like, well, your attic right now is at R39. State recommends that you're up at least R59, and we have this special stuff. It's got a chemical in it. It burns the mice eyes when it gets in there, so it keeps them out of there. And they're like, how much? Just tell me how much. And I'd be like, it's only like 2 grand to you guys don't need a lot, so it'll only be like 2 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'd be starting high, and they'd be like, when can you guys be out here?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's funny how like what you do typically, will sway, like the shit that you care about or focus more on, like that's like Logan, with like Windows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he'll walk anywhere and he'll be like, well, that's a real problem. Yeah, that's a real issue.
Yeah.
You gotta have this, you gotta have whatever it is, whatever it is, or you'll have, something like a mechanic, excuse me, on like cars. They're whatever, like that's like where their brains focus on because that's what they're dealing with all day long. And then you talk.
I don't know a single mechanic that drives a good car though.
Well, I'm just saying, but when they
you know.
talk to their neighbor, they're gonna have a hell of a
Mhm.
fucking opinion on what's going on with their car, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's somebody else, and like the last thing I'll say with that because we're getting pretty close to the TB3 time here, is like one thing I've learned when it comes from, it drives me fucking nuts with people. It's like a quick rant, just a quick Austin rant here, okay? Because it's been on my mind for like the last 2 weeks. I've really noticed it, and I've worked for like very, very small mom and pop type of a business. I've worked for a very large corporation. I've worked from where the owner himself is doing all different shades of business, and it irritates. I get it for certain things, so I understand that there's like very specific things where it matters. But 99% of the time, okay, and you might disagree with me on this. I don't, whatever. But it's when people argue with me about like what a price is of something, just irritates the fuck out of me. Irritates me. And now it's to the point where it irritates me to a point where like I start coming back with shit with them. Like I used to just kind of brush it off, where now like I'll have the conversation. Because like they'll look at you and they'll be like, I'm making this up right now. So it could be for whatever job. I'm pricing fucking, I don't know. I'm gonna come install a fucking driveway at your house, whatever the fuck you want to say. I'm putting new cabinets in your house, whatever it is. And they'll be like you'll get the price, and they're all cool with like no big deal. And then they're like, well, I need a breakdown from your company of like what's for what. And I've never owned a business, but I can tell you verbatim if I did. It's like I'm gonna make up a number. We'll say $1,000, whatever. I don't know. Be like, well, here's the breakdown. It's $1,000 for me to do it. It's $1,000 for me not to do it. I truly don't give a fuck. Like that's the way it is. And like I got at it with this guy the other day with a boiler, and I'm a fairly calm person, especially with customers. And like I already told the owner for this shit, so like he's aware of this in case for whatever reason. But it was like $800 to do this repair, okay? And it was originally quoted for like 4.5 hours. It took us like 4 hours. Now it took us 4 hours because there happened to be 2 people instead of 1 person. Anyways, so like that's what it was for. And the guy's like, he comes down and he goes, "Hey, I'm happy it's working again. It's all that." And he's like, I really need to get a breakdown from you before I pay you on what it is." And we're like, the guy I was with is like trying to break down with him, like, well, the parts are this. And I literally was like, just stop. And I was like, it's $800. He's like, well, I just like to know like what is for what. And I go, it makes no difference. If I told you it was $799.95 for labor and 5 cents for the part, that's how much it costs this company to do this job. You may not like that price, which is 100% acceptable. That's why you call multiple people or you get multiple quotes. You know, like when you were getting the new cabinets, you didn't just go online, click the very first one you saw, and we're like, this is it. This is what it is. Or like the carpet and shit. Like you ask this people, what is it? This person, what is it? It costs a bit more here, but the install is a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? And then you find out, okay, I'm going to go with this person, you know? And I looked at him and I was like, you just told me that like you had to get cataract surgery for your wife and it was $4,000. I said, did you bitch at the doctor for it costing $4,000 and ask for a breakdown on why her cataract surgery was $4,000? And he's like, no, not at all. I'm like, do you go to a restaurant and then bitch to Texas Roadhouse because the steak costs more there than it does for you to buy at Meijer and ask for a breakdown on what did the chef make compared to what the steak costs compared to what I'm paying? No, you don't. You understand it is. I'm like, do you know how to fix this boiler? And he's like, no. And I go, that's why we're here. Because if you did know what the fuck you were doing, you would have just done it, or you wouldn't have questioned it because you would have paid for someone else to do it.
Mhm.
So what are we talking about? That whole like break it down for me with the price thing irritates the fuck out of me. It bothers me right now to a very large.
That's pretty obvious.
It does. To me, it's just beyond stupid because it's like it goes back to what you said, where it's like when you have to do something, maybe it's like that emotional reaction to it. But like you have never walked into a fucking restaurant before ever. You didn't go to Ruth Chris and sat there and been like, you know what? If I could speak to like the owner and just have like a breakdown on why this steak costs this much at this restaurant compared to like the steak burrito from Taco Bell, I'd like to know why that is. No, why did it cost
I
that?
think
You know,
I think if you ask for the breakdown prior to the work, it's not as big of a deal. I think if you're like looking at the quote and you're like, okay,
what's happening?
you're the fourth company that's came here. You're telling me
Do you
that
have
this is
something
going to be
vibrating right now on your desk?
no.
It's my
I was
phone.
like,
It's my phone. Sorry.
but so I mean, I think if like because I we did this, you know, like I just actually went through this process with cabinet installs and floor installs, and it was like, okay, you know, like, all right, this is the deal at Home Depot, this is the deal at Lowe's, this is the deal at Carpet Guys, this is the deal at Empire. Let's look at them all. Okay, these two are double what these two are, so we're not even going to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we maybe pin these guys and these two quotes against each other?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Home Depot is installing a carpet for 50 cents a square foot,
Mm-hmm.
but the carpet costs $3.50 a square foot.
Sure.
So it's $1,300. Lowe's is going to do it at $2.50 a square foot for the install, but now they're only charging 89 cents a square foot for the carpet and the carpet padding because they're running a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So can we go back to Home Depot and maybe get that cheaper install
Yeah. Let me
for, for,
let me
for
rephrase.
more? You
When I
know.
say this, I'm talking about like you called the company. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you've done your research, whatever. However little or more that you did, I don't give a fuck. That's on you. You did whatever amount of research that you did. You called the company. You had them come out. The company told you how much it would cost to get it done. You agree to that. The company then comes and does the job. When it's time to pay for that job, then you sit there and go, well, I really want like a breakdown because I don't understand why it's this
Yeah.
much. Like, buddy, we're
Yeah.
6 steps past that. When I first came out and explained you the price, that's like
Mm-hmm.
when you give me the whole like, well, why does it cost like that? Like, what's the price for this
Mm-hmm.
compared to this? Well, if we just did the lower cabinets or we just did the one bedroom, you know what I mean? That's when we have that
Yeah.
conversation. Not when the work is already done and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
pay for it. So you're like, well, what is this? And like my whole thing is like one thing I love that we do is like for parts, like we just the labor, everything, just everything is included in the price of that part, so it never
Mm-hmm.
changes. You know, I
Yeah.
don't make something up and up. Let's say like this cup was $10. Like that includes me installing the cup, doing everything, whatever. That's everything with it because like you're also paying for the knowledge, the experience of that technician because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. All right. You either don't know what you're doing or your time is more valuable and you don't want to do it. Either way, I don't give a shit. You're not doing it. You're paying somebody else, like DoorDash. You know, it's not that I'm physically incapable of getting in my car and driving there, but I pay a fat fucking premium, you know, because that's what it is. Like, I don't email DoorDash and go, hey, I just bought this thing. Can you hit me with a breakdown of like what it is per mile, per cent for this? You know what I'm saying? You just don't do that. That's
No.
the shit that drives me nuts is when people go at the end of it because they don't
Thank God you don't.
any other aspect of their life they don't do that for. You know,
Thank God you don't work in medical billing.
fuck no. You know, and that's a again. I mean, there is difference when you're talking, you know, $2,000 and fucking $250,000. But the other difference too is it's like same with the cataracts thing. It's like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? What are you
Usually
gonna do?
they just bitch and hope that you'll take something off.
Sure.
I mean, that's where. I
And
mean,
that's
that's
where
really what
companies
it
need to
is.
fucking hold their line and be like, no, buddy, this is what it costs. You know,
I
this
mean,
don't do it. Go with somebody else. I don't give a
as
shit.
somebody who's as somebody who's worked in billing in an accounting department before, there's been a few times where it's like they called and they were like, "Listen, I don't want to pay this," and it's
Yep.
like, "Well, then why did you have us do it?"
Yep.
And if you don't do it, guess what? You're going to go through my collections process. I'm going to send you to collections. You're going to go into collections.
And like when you're a big
And
enough company, you know, like we have people all the time who they're like, it's just such a hassle. It's generally not worth the company's time to deal with it. They'll just like refund it, and then we'll just say, hey, we're never going to service you again. Like,
yep,
because you're just not our customer. It's clear as day. You're not meant for us. So it's just not worth it to them. And I get when you're like new and you're starting out and shit. Like obviously you can't be doing that all the time. Um, but it's also about like the quality of work that you do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a different thing too. But it's like, you know, for heart surgery, you know, like what are you gonna do? Like you're just gonna not you're just
yep,
gonna die? Like what
yeah,
you know, it is what it fucking is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like there's a few things in like my line of work where the markup is like fucking beyond logical. Beyond logical. And then there's a few things where like I could look at it from somebody who doesn't do it and say that markup is crazy and then understand why the markup is there for other things. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
some of the shit like a capacitor, anybody who has ever dealt with an HVAC company knows that like that's the number one markup in the world. That like gets HVAC companies the most amount of shit. Cuz you can go to like Home Depot and buy like a basic Titan capacitor for like $15, you know, and they're like $200 or 250
mhm,
$280, whatever it is, to have the company come out and do it. And you know, when I was like, the first like probably 6 months I was doing it, I was like, this is insane. You know, I would like go into the manager and be like, how the fuck do we do this? Like, how do we get away with this and shit? And then the more and more I think about it, I'm like, well, you know, there's a lot of money that goes into me changing a capacitor. Like there really is, because like I have to go out there, I have to diagnose the problem. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, so you don't know what the problem is. That's why you call the company to come and tell you why. You just know that you don't have AC. Okay, so I have to go through and test everything to accurately determine that's what it is. Right now that I know that's what it is, I have to fucking install a contactor, for instance. You know, I know from experience, you flip two wires, you just blew everything. You know, you just fucked up a board, a thermostat, a this, a that, a whatever. And but they don't look at it like that. You know, they're just like, well, I could do this myself. And I'll be like, do it.
yep,
Do
yeah.
it.
No, I mean, I get it. I mean,
This is what it
as
is.
somebody who as somebody who's going through 1,000 different quotes and shit right now, carpet's a great example. Somebody had told, I think it was actually you, it was like, why don't you just install your own carpet? And I go, well, yeah, I could do that, but it's not going to be good. I don't have a
Yeah.
stretcher. I don't
You're not
have,
wrong.
I don't have the ability to do what the carpet companies can do. They have the tools to do it. So yeah, I could go buy the, like,
Well, it's also time.
um,
It's like I said, I don't. There's no right or wrong. Like you could know, you
mhm,
could be a fucking all-star plumber. I don't know, I'm making something up.
mhm,
You know what I mean, or whatever. And like your time is just more valuable, and you'd rather just have something. The other big thing when it comes to your house that is like a lot different than like an apartment or something is it's like you don't want to be fucking liable. You know, that's why like when
well,
it comes to like heavy electric shit or like some
yeah,
plumbing shit, you know, with like my shit, my septic, whether I
mhm,
know what I'm doing or not, when something does go wrong, I don't want to fucking pay for it. I want the company who's then liable. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You pay a fat
yeah. Well,
premium, just like with like water tanks, because those cost so much to get installed. And I'm like, here's the thing: like you do it yourself, and then you go on vacation, and it fucking floods everywhere and shit like that. Like you're fucked. A company does it, and that happens, they're fucked. You know, they have to pay
yeah,
for all of the clean. They have, you know, they have to do everything.
yeah,
It's like I'm all about it, but then just don't get pissy with me about like what it is that I'm doing, and don't ask
Yeah,
me
well,
if you don't want it.
the backsplash is a good example. I can very easily do the backsplash in our kitchen, but it's just like we were just talking about in the car. I was like, if they're going to charge us a low price for the install, and it's kind of like one of those things, if in a year and a half the backsplash starts falling off, or our fucking, or they put it on our fucking drywall and our drywall fails because the backsplash is too heavy,
Sure, that's on them.
I just call a company and I go, hey,
Yeah.
you guys install my backsplash and it's literally ripping off on my walls right
Yep.
now. And then they're like, they come out and do it. It's
I
just like,
I pay for shit all the time that I could like we
yeah,
had the whole like breaking the leaves thing last year, and I was so pissed off, and it was like we were super busy, so I mean I wasn't getting home till late as fuck. Like it was literally dark every night that I got home. It's like, listen, I'm just not going to get home in pitch black and do this. It was like $100. I was like, I'll fucking pay it. Like I don't give
yeah.
a shit. Like I don't.
I mean, yeah,
It's just not worth my time. It's just not.
yeah,
It's something that would have
yeah,
taken
yeah,
me like 30 minutes. It's just
yeah.
not worth my time.
I mean, listen, I looked into somebody, I looked into paying somebody to paint my house.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And,
Quick.
well, okay, yeah. The first guy quotes us at 10 grand, and then the next guy quotes me at 1,300. So I mean, obviously it went. The only problem I had with the 1,300 guy was like I didn't trust him.
That's one of
He
those
was being
windows
like
things
real.
too, though, where like he'll go into like 6 of like a new construction subdivision that are like
Mhm,
literally cookie cutter the exact same houses, and he'll give like 8 different quotes. This guy's like 15,
yeah,
this guy's 8, this guy's 6, this guy's whatever, and it's like
mhm.
you're doing the exact same thing. But that could they get away with that shit? It
Yeah,
only
yeah,
takes
yeah,
one or
yeah,
two people to go, oh, that's not bad. That's whatever we.
yeah,
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but it's like when Logan
yeah.
would do like side jobs for windows for people. And again, it's like a win-win situation because like she'd
Mhm,
call a company to do like 6 like storm windows in the basement. I'm making numbers up because I don't remember. And they'd say, okay, it's going to be $12,000 to do it. And they're like, wow, that's a lot. They ask Logan. Logan's like, I'll do it for $3,000. They're like, holy shit! It went from 12,000 to 3,000. Like, what a great deal! And then the back end,
mhm.
it's like it cost Logan $600, and it takes him 5 hours. So in 5 hours, he just made $2,500. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they are getting a great deal, right? Because they're like, fuck yeah, it is a lot cheaper than having this guy do it. But you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where it's just the world. Everything is marked up. Everything is. It's
Yeah,
like, what are you gonna do with people? I don't know. What are you gonna do?
yeah. All right, we've been bitching about people
Sure.
and quotes for a hot minute. So let's jump into this TB3 and let's sign off.
I'm dialed in.
We this have decided in the past 2 weeks that we were trying to record this episode that we were going to do the Will Smith films, folks. Will Smith films.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who he is one of the 3 black guys in every movie.
Yep.
Only to be beat out by Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson.
Sure. He's honestly one of my favorite actors of all time. It's just a shame how he's just nosedived publicly in the past 4 or 5 years.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. That's all I'm going to say.
That's on him.
So, if you'd like to kick us off at the bottom,
Sure.
Mr. Austin,
Sure.
since you are a bottom.
Number 3 for me on the bottom is Gemini Man. It's like the whole like him from like the future talking to himself kind of thing. I just didn't.
Yeah. It's a clone of him. Yeah.
It wasn't.
I'm aware of them.
I did not like the movie. So number 3 for me, Gemini Man.
Number 3 for me on the bottom would be Bright. This is Will Smith as a cop. It's like a future world, but it's not really. Is it a future or is it just an alternate world? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I think it's the future, but
yeah, but he's running around with like ogres and they're cops, and it's a whole thing. And then they're being racist towards the ogres, but
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I agree with it. I don't think it was like a horrible movie, but it was not good. I think it's one of those where you could tell they just dumped a lot of money into in hopes that like it would do whatever. Because that was when Netflix was first like really pumping out their own shit. And that was like a flag one out.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, literally almost a identical as the first one for me, Gemini Man, and that's After Earth, and that's when him and his son. And like he had to like talk to his son through like how to do all this shit. Again, just not a good fucking movie. Like just not a good movie. Not a good Will Smith movie for sure.
You might be surprised by my number 2 on the bottom here. After Earth. It's a movie with Will Smith and his son's in it, and he takes some sort of injury when they're like doing some sort of scouting trip, and he's got to like talk his son through a bunch of shit, and it's just not good.
Yeah, no, it was not a good movie at all. Number one for me on the top, I really had two, and even right now, again, I'm having a hard time kind of going back and forth because it's not that like the one I think is a bad movie, and then the other one I just think he did a really shitty job in the movie. Um, I'll go with my heart. I'm going to do Aladdin at number one.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I,
Can't replace Robin Williams.
exactly. It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of they went a complete 180 of what I think it should have been.
Mhm.
I didn't like kind of the stupid humor that he played in that role. Like, maybe just because I'm used to Robin Williams in that role.
Yeah.
But I thought he
Yeah.
did a horrible, and I thought the movie sucked. Like, I just didn't think it was a good movie, regardless of Will
I've
Smith.
never watched the live action. I've refused to do it.
Horrible,
So
dude. Horrible. Save your fucking time.
my number one on the bottom would be another movie that you've already mentioned, and that would be Gemini Man. I was not a fan of that movie. So it was a great concept. The concept of the movie was good. The execution, he was not good in the role. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Like some movies deserve to be rewritten, recast, and redone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of them.
I agree.
Because the concept of it is cool. You know
Yeah.
that he's an assassin and he's so good that they cloned him without him knowing. But now he's like so dangerous that the only way that they can stop him is by sending the clone that they made of him to
Sure.
kill him. Like it's a pretty good, like it's a pretty great
I
concept.
agree.
It could be a Matrix
I
type
agree.
movie. It could be a very big movie, but they just horrible execution.
Yeah, they didn't do good with it. Working our way up to the top now. I know it's a lot, but he has so many good movies. I
He
have
does. He
three
does.
honorable mentions. I'll just burst out super quickly. Okay, they're too good to not
Mhm.
even name in this. I'd be mad at myself. One is iRobot. I think is an unbelievable movie. Two is Men in Black, or really the whole Men in Black series is very awesome.
Mhm.
And then number three would be Hitch, with him and Kevin James. Again, great movie. Number three for me though is going to be I Am Legend. Now,
Okay.
I have two
Okay.
reasons why
With a dog.
I have this at my number three. One is I think it's a great fucking movie. I think the premise of the movie is awesome. I wish they ever made a second because I kind of left it off like they could have, but they never did. Probably
Mhm.
never will. But two is it's very, very hard to make a movie where there's literally one person for 99% of the movie. There's not a
Yeah.
bunch of actors. It's not like Grown Ups where we have like 20 A-list actors. You know what I mean? And they're all doing whatever. Like it's literally just him for pretty much the
And a
whole
dog.
movie, and a dog. And I think that they just did a great job. I think it was awesome for him. I Am Legend at number three.
Okay. Okay. Understandable. So I'm gonna be honest. Like, there are probably better movies than what are on my top three.
Sure.
Um, and with my honorable. But what I went with was I went with a nostalgia. I went with like the movies I watch, the movies I've repeatedly watched
Mm-hmm.
because I enjoy them, like on a personal level. And yes, there are movies on here that I could say are probably better,
Sure.
but that's why I went this route.
Okay.
Um, Honorable mention, I'm going to go with Shark Tales. Great children's film. Love that. I love that thing.
Very
Loved it.
cool.
I even had a board game of Shark Tales. It was a really cool board game too. Then my number three on the top is iRobot, and if you ask my mother, one of the three movies that we owned on or one of the three movies I watched repeatedly on DVD would have been iRobot. I watched it so much that it actually like started wearing off the paint on the front of the DVD.
Mm-hmm.
It was that movie, Click, and Waterboy. I watched those movies a lot as a child.
Three very good movies.
So
It's my.
iRobot.
I'll flap it if I want.
Yeah, yeah. Great film.
No issue with that at all. I love iRobot. Again, it was for I could have put any of those honorable mentions in my top three. And had no problem with it.
Yeah.
Number two for me, there's only one person I know that hates the movie, and he's an idiot, and that would be The Pursuit of Happiness. I think that I watched that movie and loved it before I had kids. After I had kids, I love it even more. Combination of it, A, being a good movie, B, I actually like the idea of it being his son in the movie because he was so young, and I think that's just awesome to get to like do that with your son. Is pretty cool. And it really does just show like the perseverance. That's a true story. About the
Yeah, it is.
perseverance. And there's a couple of scenes in there though where like you're not a man if you don't, at least get a little emotional. When he's in the fucking bathroom, at the subway station, holding the door closed while he's crying on his kid. Woo! There's some fucking parts in that. And
Oh
then,
yeah, I mean,
he's handing the $5 to his boss for the taxi, and like it's literally the last $5 that he has. In and out of the group home. The wife is a worthless piece of shit. Ex-wife, whatever you want to call it, girlfriend. But Pursuit of Happiness at number 2, unbelievable movie.
yeah. Yeah, that movie's deep. I want to know who the one person is that doesn't like it.
My dad.
Okay, yeah, I thought that's who it was. I couldn't remember his
It
number.
makes no sense. He's like, the whole movie is just getting kicked in the nuts over and over again. I'm like, that's the whole fucking point of it. It's the whole point that like he's just getting his ass beat constantly, but he never gives up. He keeps going the entire time. He pushes through, and then at the end, he did all that hard work. Like that right at the end when he's sitting there, and he was like, hey, what would you say to a guy that doesn't have a shirt on? He's like, he's got to have some nice pants. Like it's just great that he has comedy. And then he's like, well, hey, wear a shirt tomorrow and the next day because you got it. And he kind of walks out, and it's just a quiet part of the movie. It's a very quick part. But he's like in the street, and then you just see him like looking around, and he just like breaks down because it was like, his whole everything just accumulated to that moment of getting that job, and then they have an apartment, his kid can eat. It's just like, I think it's a fucking unbelievable movie. So
It is. So my number 2 is probably going to surprise you. It is The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't put that like you said, as a dad, as somebody like it's just like it's one of those things that makes you thankful for the things you have, and it also makes you like realize like,
how
hey, you
quick?
need to.
Oh, because people
Yeah.
forget because the movie's so long that like in the beginning of the movie, like they were good, like they weren't doing great,
Mm-hmm.
but like they had the
Yeah,
apartment,
they were fine.
had the wife, they had the whatever. He spent all that money on all those little fucking Proton whatever things for the hospital. You know what I mean? It's not like he just didn't have any money to get them. He invested his whole life into it, and it just went belly up. Like he tried to do something with his family, it failed, fucked him completely, and then he worked his way back. So
Yeah.
unbelievable movie.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me. This is when I talk about like all-time greats. Like this could be argued in my top 5, if not my top 3.
Can I guess it?
You'll get it right. You should.
7 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best movies ever made from an emotional standpoint of like, wow, dude. That movie has twists, turns, and fucking hits you in the fucking gut. Because you're watching it and it starts off and he's just berating this blind guy, going in on him, and you're like, Jesus, this guy's a fucking dick. And then does the whole jellyfish to save his organs to give it. I mean, that movie is woof. You want to talk about a fucking film.
You love the jellyfish scene.
Why, I'm big on
You love the jellyfish.
first of all, but I think it's wild though. It's like he's just in a hotel room and he's bawling, he's crying, he makes the girl. It's just, it's a whole unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great film.
I went a little different route with my number 1. This is probably by far my favorite movie series, and that would be Men in Black.
Yeah, and I respect it. Absolutely respect it.
To be fair, I've never watched the one that was. Ooh, I got the chills. I never watched one that had Chris Hemsworth in it because I was just like, it's not the movie.
I like this
even like the.
But
Yeah, the second one's really good. I love the second one when they're in the. My favorite movie scene ever. Favorite movie scene ever, hands down, when he opens up that machine and the guy's smoking the cigarette, and he goes, "There's no smoking in the post office," and he takes the cigarette from him, and then he puts the cigarette back in and doesn't light it.
He just throws it all out. Yeah, no, that's a.
I don't know why. I don't know why I love that, but I do.
No, I respect that.
But yeah,
great TV3.
Good TV3. Good TV3.
Good pod. One of the longer pods we've done.
Yeah. Started off slow with my Walmart story, but I had to get that out there. That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. I felt like I should have been Ellen after that, telling that story.
Oh, look at the timing. Look who just got home. Well, all right. Great pod.
All right. Yeah. Well, kiss the kids, tell them I love them, and I'll see you here next week.
Peace out.
Bye.